Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night with a sudden sense of anxiety? Not from a nightmare, not from a noise outside, but simply because you urgently needed to use the bathroom? Have you found yourself searching for the light switch, holding onto the wall to keep your balance? Your heart races, your head feels light, your feet are cold, the floor is slippery. Now imagine that one day you don't manage to hold yourself up. One wrong step, and you fall onto the floor, in the dark, alone, and no one comes right away. No one hears you. And in moments like that, time becomes critical. As we age, the body becomes more vulnerable. That's not weakness, it's physiology. And that habit you may have believed was healthy your whole life, drinking a glass of water before bed, can actually trigger a chain of events leading to a loss of independence. It might seem minor, but once you're over 60, that tiny action can be the catalyst for insomnia, falls, blood pressure spikes, and even serious injuries that you may never fully recover from. One case from Dr. Haley Foster, a leading cardiologist at the Mayo Clinic, is a chilling reminder. Her patient was 68. Every night, the same ritual, a glass of water before bed to avoid waking up dehydrated. A few months later, he fell on his way to the bathroom at night, broke his hip, several surgeries, a long rehab, and eventually a nursing home. Not because he was alone, not because he was ill, but because no one had told him that something as simple as water before bed could be dangerous at that age. And here's where you need to pause, because you might be thinking, that's not me. But he thought the same. He was active, he was sharp, he even drove. Until that night. Until that morning when they found him on the floor, immobile, in tears, with a bruised and bloodied face. This isn't fearmongering. This is reality. And you don't have to go down that road. But to avoid it, you must understand. Your body after 60 is not the same body you had at 40. It doesn't forgive mistakes, and it especially doesn't forgive those who ignore the signs. Later, we'll explain exactly why nighttime water is so dangerous for the aging body, what happens with your blood pressure, your heart, and your brain. But for now, ask yourself, is one glass of water really worth the risk of ending up on the floor, unable to call for help? Truth isn't always comfortable, but in this case it's absolutely necessary. Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night drenched in cold sweat, your heart pounding like an alarm bell? That terrifying feeling like something has triggered a siren inside you, and you don't know what's happening. Panic, disorientation, and suddenly the thought flashes. What if it's my heart? What if this is the beginning of the end? And the scary part is, sometimes, it actually is. This isn't random. It's a warning sign. And, ironically, sometimes it's a signal you yourself have unknowingly triggered. With the simplest, most seemingly harmless action, drinking a glass of water before going to bed. Why? Because after age 60, your physiology changes. Your kidneys no longer filter fluids as quickly. The volume of circulating blood stays elevated longer. And the heart, especially in those with high blood pressure, diabetes, or simply age-related changes, becomes hypersensitive. You're essentially overloading it at night, when it should be resting, recovering, slowing down. Instead, it's forced to keep working. And at some point, it may falter. Nocturnal heart rhythm disturbances are one of the most underestimated risk factors for older adults, especially in those who frequently wake up at night. It's not just about urination. It's about disrupting the entire body's nighttime recovery mode. And most of the time, it happens out of sheer unawareness. Edna's story, at 73, sounds eerily simple. I woke up at night. My heart felt like it was jumping out of my chest. I thought I was just nervous, but in the morning the doctors told me I had a pre-stroke condition. She didn't drink alcohol, didn't overeat, wasn't stressed. She simply followed a lifelong habit, drinking water before bed, because it's good for you. But no one had explained that for an aging body, timing is just as important as quantity. That there are hours when water restores, and hours when it can actually trigger damage, especially at night when your blood pressure should be dropping, and instead, it spikes. This doesn't mean water is bad, but drinking it at the wrong time is. Blindly following universal health advice while forgetting that your body at 65 isn't the same as it was at 30. That is dangerous. Old habits, followed for decades, may now be quietly turning against you. And if your first reaction is, "I've done this all my life and nothing ever happened," that may be the most dangerous thought of all. Because nothing yet doesn't mean never. The body accumulates wear and tear, and for many, everything changes in just one night. The next section will dive into how nighttime awakenings trigger irreversible processes in the brain and disturb the delicate balance that controls your memory, reaction speed, and even your personality. Because everything you do before bed could permanently affect who you wake up as. Picture this for a moment. Night. Complete silence. You wake up with the urge. You need to use the bathroom. Just like always. You get out of bed, reach for your slippers. And then, nothing. A blank void. You've lost consciousness. Maybe it was a sudden drop in blood pressure. Maybe hypoglycemia. Or maybe your body simply couldn't handle the strain. A fall. A hit. Darkness. And now, you're lying on the floor. Unconscious. Or fully conscious, but unable to move. Your phone is out of reach. There's no emergency button. Your family lives in another part of town. Or maybe another state. You're scared. Cold. And worst of all, you have no idea when someone will find you. Or if they'll find you in time. This scenario may sound dramatic, but this is exactly how hundreds of tragedies begin each year. And it all stems from one simple, barely noticeable disruption. Getting up at night to use the bathroom. The root cause? A breakdown of one of the body's most essential biological functions, the circadian rhythm. Have you ever wondered what's happening inside your body while you sleep? Sleep isn't just rest. It's a highly structured process. Sleep phases cycle. Your brain repairs neural connections. Your immune system fights inflammation. Your heart slows down and resets. Now imagine ripping yourself out of that system. Night after night. Once or twice. You thought you just went to the bathroom? No. You interrupted a vital recovery program. Dr. Thomas Rivers, a neurologist at the California Sleep Center, conducted long-term studies on older adults who woke up during the night. His findings were alarming. Patients over 60 who wake up at night at least twice are 3 times more likely to show signs of cognitive decline within the next 5 years. Short-term memory loss, reduced concentration, emotional instability, and it's irreversible. Think about it. When was the last time you slept through the night without waking up? When did you last wake up feeling clear-headed, energized, and truly rested? Or have you already gotten used to every night being interrupted? A bathroom trip, then struggling to fall back asleep, then restless, anxious dreams. That's not normal. That's slow deterioration, day by day, night by night. And if you still believe that a glass of water before bed is harmless, think about how drops work. 1 drop, nothing. Hundreds of drops can erode stone. That's exactly what's happening here. Nighttime wake-ups caused by water disrupt your biorhythms, damage your health, and accelerate brain aging, and you don't even notice until it's too late. Now imagine, 3 years from now, you can't remember your granddaughter's name, and it all started with a habit that could have easily been changed, but you didn't think it mattered. That's a painful truth. But better to hear it now than not hear anything at all later. Next, we'll talk about what to actually do. Clear steps to keep yourself off the wrong side of statistics, to protect your clarity, your balance, and your independence, while you still have it. Now we come to the most important question. What do you do now? Because fear is not the goal. The goal is action, a solution, a chance to change things before it's too late. The answer may sound simple, but in reality, few people are willing to embrace it. Your last fluid intake should be no later than 1.5 to 2 hours before bedtime. Not because someone online said so, but because that's how the human body is built. After 60, your body works differently. It needs a different logic, different habits, a different kind of responsibility. Yes, at first it will feel unfamiliar. You might experience a bit of dryness in your mouth before bed. You might be tempted to take a few sips, just in case. But that very case might lead to a sleepless night, a blood pressure spike, a fall, or memory disruption. The choice is yours, but the consequences affect everyone who loves you. Stop relying on luck. Want to sleep peacefully? Start in the morning. Drink plenty of water during the day. Make sure your intake is balanced. More in the first half, a bit less in the afternoon, and minimum after 6 o'clock p.m. This is your new discipline. Not a punishment, but a form of protection. Not a restriction, but an act of self-care. Check your diet. Reduce your salt intake. It causes thirst and fluid retention. Cut out diuretic foods in the evening. Watermelon, grapes, pineapple, celery, coffee, green tea. Even healthy options can backfire at the wrong time of day. And most importantly, listen to your body. Don't drink just in case. You're not a teenager anymore. Your body demands precision, caution, wisdom. And if that thought creeps into your head, what's the big deal? It's just a few sips of water. Stop. Think. Picture your son opening your apartment door in the morning and finding you on the floor, pale, alone. Imagine your daughter canceling business meetings, quitting her job to take care of you after a hip fracture. Not because you were weak, but because you didn't give up one small habit in time. That's how lives fall apart. That's how families get strained. That's how you become a burden. When you could have prevented it. You could have stayed independent. You could have remained the person they're proud of, not the one they care for out of pity. This is not an exaggeration, not scare tactics. This is reality, and this is your chance to stay in control of your body, your mind, and your life. Not tomorrow, not after the weekend. Today. Because today you still have a choice. Tomorrow you may only have consequences.